text allows random access. If you think about, it's hard to imagine a pre-literate culture. I mean, it's hard to
Right.
imagine what that would be like living in a culture where there is no text, where the only exposure you have to language is through conversation, where the only things that are known are in people's memories. And if you want to find something out, you have to go ask somebody, and they may not remember exactly correctly. And we all know how the game of telephone is played at parties, and how spoken language is frequently replicated very poorly. Uh, so the addition of text allows you to look at uh, to look at uh, well, again, it's rate independent, so it pulls the element of time out and allows random access, so that you can use an index to look up some part of a book. There are all sorts of 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 uh, of marginalia, things like that, footnotes and so forth, that are used in texts, that allow you to navigate them
Yeah.
and to find things that you would never be able to do with purely with spoken language. And you see that in the cell too, because there was prior to the current modern living system, where you have DNA, RNA, and protein, and DNA is used for storing sequences, and protein is used for molecular manipulation, for catalysis. There was a time before that, and it's, I think, generally agreed now, that there was an RNA world in which the RNA molecule was used for both of these things, but it wasn't nearly as good as what we currently have. And I tend to think of the pre-literate human culture as being very much like the RNA world. In other words, you had the ability to generate some complexity
Yeah.
using spoken sequences, but the sequences of speech are very much tied up with the dynamics. You cannot separate um, you cannot separate things like gesture and prosody and facial expressions and all that kind of thing from the actual sequences of speech themselves. The only way you do that is to reduce the speech to writing, where you have just the rate independent text. The research has shown that gesture and speech is so closely tied that the that people who are blind gesture, even though they have never seen gesture, and they even gesture to other blind people, knowing that those blind people cannot see the gesture. And I think
Right.
even normally sighted people can will gesture when they're on the telephone.
And they
Uh,
can guess other person's gesture as well pretty accurately. Yeah.
exactly. So you have this very, I call it entanglement. You have this rate dependent gesture that is tied into a sequence of pulses in the air, and very, very difficult to separate out. The only way you can sort of separate out the strictly the sequential part is to reduce it to text. And that's one of the reasons that text becomes uh, so powerful, and one of the reasons that literate societies are able to kind of overwhelm the non-literate societies.
Right. Which I mean,